Okay. So I'm Cynthia, and I'm the host of the reality series CPS The Horror Stories. I'm not an attorney or a social worker, but I'm a mom who had her kids kidnapped by CPS. And after fighting for 2 years, I did get my kids back. It was hell, and we still struggle with a lot of things that are caused because of them being illegally removed and wrongfully removed from my possession. Now I have this platform where I get to allow other parents and family members to speak out on their kids being illegally kidnapped and not returned, or returned but returned with a lot of issues that they struggle with, and it's not fair. So this is us trying to break down the system. So do you guys want to introduce yourselves one at a time?
Yeah, my name's Sandy Topham. I'm a grandma.
I'm Kailee Hagenbuch. I'm the mom, I guess.
I guess that leaves me as Tyler, your dad.
Okay. So how many kids are involved?
Two.
Okay. Where are you guys from? I know you told me, but for everybody else.
We're Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay. And were any of you guys in the foster system prior to this happening? I don't even know what happened yet, so.
I have had a prior case, but this was quite a few years ago. But nothing since like what's current.
Yeah, I fostered them. I adopted one and fostered the other one.
Of them two?
No. Oh, them two? No, they're
No,
kids.
my oldest son is 8. His name, and it was him, and then my youngest son, Benjamin, who she took them both, but now it's my oldest son, my daughter.
I think we misunderstood the question. You're talking about us.
Yeah, have any of you?
I've not been in foster
I was in foster care when I was a teenager.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
I was being abused by my he wasn't my stepdad yet, but I was being abused by him sexually, and my mom decided to stand by him in a sense, and refused to let him go. So I didn't really tell anybody for the longest time, and then I finally told my friend, and she told her dad, and they took me that night. And I was there for, I think, 48 hours, and then they came into the foster home that I was in at like 4 o'clock in the morning and just bagged up all my stuff, grabbed me, and took me. I think might have been in the same county. I don't even know. It just seems like we drove forever, and it was like I didn't even know what time it was. And to put me in another foster home at an unknown location for a long time, for about a good year. So, and then I got out of the foster, but she married him, so I ended up having to go live with someone else. So, but I was reaching that age where I would have graduated basically out of foster care. So they just sent me somewhere else. So.
Okay.
It almost felt like abandonment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now,
I had great foster parents, so I was fortunate.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Now, which one is your child?
Kailee.
Okay. So let's start. Tell me the very first time CPS ever came in your life. You said it was a while ago. What happened?
Yeah.
It was 2015.
2015. I had my son, Benjamin, and I, at the time, was I was really in bad addiction, so that was the reason for that. But then 2017, I got she adopted Benjamin, and then 2017 I got my oldest son back, and I got clean and went from there. And then it was a year, not even a year ago.
So it was this past fall.
It's been quite a few.
It was shortly after Halloween. It was like, I think it was like December, January.
So who has?
Well, no, it had to been just after winter.
Who has custody of Benjamin now?
My mother, she's adopted him.
I adopted him.
Okay, but
because at the time I wasn't ready to stop what I was doing.
Yeah.
And that was just what was best for him at the time.
Yeah. So he lives with me, and
okay, and but he's with you now.
So I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Well, he lives with her obviously because she's adopted him, but you know, we're able to see and
have a relationship. He knows who they are. He knows. He knows that mom,
it's kind of
dad.
complicated, but
yeah, he knows. I'm still Walla.
Good. Because I don't know if you know my story. My mother was the one who kidnapped my kids with CPS, made them call her mom, tried to adopt them out from underneath me, abused, drugged, all sorts of stuff, my kids.
His mother's trying to do that right now with their daughter, and that's why they're involved right now. It's because of his mother.
That's exactly what's going on.
She wants their daughter.
The reason it all started this time was because his mom had called and made false allegations so many times. So it was like they were nonstop, like just coming nonstop, and then eventually they stopped coming to us about the allegations that were being made, and just sorted through and picked which ones they wanted to kind of like investigate, and then kind of go with that. So every time it was a 30-day investigation, and then this last one was just unreal.
The problem is that it's the CPS worker who was involved. He was way too involved. He would just show up, and never had I heard him explain his reasons for being there, except for once or twice. And he, and I've been going through this whole thing and I had to get my foster care license. So I got real familiar with the foster care system and the protocols and stuff. So what makes this very unique is that it was the same social worker constantly. And he would just show up out of the blue and say, hey, can I come over? Can we talk? And in my head, I'm thinking that maybe it's possibly just continuing from an original, but it wasn't. One time he showed up and apparently to do a well check on her and Mila because some incidents took place the night prior, and and Junior, and so, but when he came to us, he had a lot of information on Tyler and what had gone on at the hospital, which is like.
But he just came from vacation.
He was on vacation, and he said, oh, there's another worker that was assigned to this, but I was on vacation and I seen the name pop up on my computer. So I called my supervisor and said, hey, I'm going to take this case. And apparently the supervisor's okay with that. So the other social worker shows up and he introduces him and says, hey, this is so-and-so. He just needs to make sure that you and Mila and everybody, that you guys are okay. And then he can leave. But he just needs to see you with his own eyes. Because I'm going to take it from here.
What were the allegations, though? Because if
there was no, that's the problem.
Okay. Well, that specific one
wasn't.
We had struggled with homelessness, and then with COVID, it's been like extremely impossible to like get anything done. So we were dealing with homelessness for quite a while. So we were in hotels and just wherever we could stay, and being that we didn't really have money and stuff, so our kids' birthdays in May, both of them, they're May 4th and May 5th, and so we weren't really able to do much for them, and we happened to get money. And
when he came over, he went to the hospital when he showed up with that second caseworker. It's because the night he was in the hospital.
That wasn't,
and it wasn't even that's what I'm saying.
We just had an argument,
and he went to the hospital. And apparently, and this is what the social worker's telling us, is that he went to the hospital, had been talking to staff there, like medical doctors and things like that. And somebody called him and gave him information about things that had been said between him and a physician or a doctor of some sorts. We didn't pry too much because what he does, you know, and what was going on is it's HIPAA. So right there was it flew up a red flag with me because I asked him, how did you get this information? There's no way that they're going to call you and give you his medical information. If they did, they violated his HIPAA rights. Been in medical for 20 years. They can't do that. And that's what he came over based off and never left. He was continuously involved. And then he followed up.
So question, because you would probably have the answer for this. Let's say, I don't know did both of you have a past history with drug use?
Yes.
Okay.
We had, when we got together, we were sober, and then we had broken up maybe a month, and then when we both got back to each other, we had relapsed, and then it kind of just snowballed from there.
May I ask what you used?
Heroin,
Okay.
both of us.
So let me ask, if, as a medical professional, if a person goes into the hospital on, let's just say on drugs,
He's legally incompetent.
so does that mean they can call and make a report to?
Basically, I don't believe that there was a report called in. I think he
What they said
fabricated that.
what they said though was that it wasn't, he didn't go in for substance, he went in for
Alcohol withdrawals.
Alcohol withdrawals.
which he wasn't even drinking.
But
Like he's not an alcoholic, like he occasionally.
They took me in a room way back in the back hospital by myself with just one other guy, telling me to calm down, change, and they didn't leave the room because they said they were worried about my safety. So I said whatever. So I changed, and then they take me into another room, and the first thing they do is put Ativan in my system, which caused me to, you know, be disoriented and pass out. And the next thing I wake up.
And he says he doesn't remember a lot of, you know, what happened at the hospital or what was said or who said what to who and
yeah,
who he talked
that's exactly
to
what I mean, I couldn't tell you names. I could barely
the
remember
medication.
faces.
Why did you go to the hospital again?
I was under extreme distress under a drug-induced psychosis, I would say.
So okay, so you were using at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was something different.
No, it says on it that
so based off that, like I told him, if that were the case, you were under the influence, and then they added to that, that would make it him legally incompetent to sign documents.
Yeah, did you go alone or did you have a child?
Yes, I was alone.
Then there's no need for any type of report to be made if you were alone, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know until the next day when Fred actually came over to
And
my
they did
mom's
make me
house.
sign
He told me.
documents.
Exactly. And none of that should have been admissible. And that's one of the things that they're charging him with is mental health issues, which is, I think, isn't that against the American Disability Act?
I'm fully disabled. I don't know if you know that part about me. So I've had 110 surgeries in 5 years, and I have, you know, tubes that come out of my stomach.
Wow.
And I have a port and everything, and I have to get treatment, and they came after me for health issues, along with my own parents.
They have no charges on her.
Yeah, no, it's a he said, she said thing.
Yeah.
That is what they based it off of. That's what they took my kids for.
Which in the paperwork is contradicting. His allegations are contradicting. In just one paragraph, they're contradicting. And then not only that, but then he made the false allegations against me that one, I let Ben go around them unsupervised. And then the second being that I was using drugs.
And
have you ever used drugs?
You know, I had when I was a kid. We all did.
Okay.
We all dabbled on, you know, things like that. Nothing that no normal kid
Now.
would do. No. And he had nothing to even base it off of. The problem is that the safety plan all along was that if anything ever went down and the kids were to be removed again in place, they would come to me.
Yeah.
And because I keep the SIBs together, and because that's what's best for the kids.
And at the beginning, like they, you know, ask you if you know, it were to ever come down to it, you know, because of, you know, they're not supposed to, but they do. They look into your past. They look into what cases you've had with them, and they kind of go off of that and base everything off of that. So they asked if, you know, it were to happen, who is it that you would want placement, you know, to go to? And first always is my mother, and then it's grandma, her mom, and then it's his mom.
The very last.
It came down to it, and there was no, that's the
Right.
order it goes in.
Right.
And they said that they went to everybody and talked to everybody, and
they
didn't
did not.
have contact with nobody.
What they did is they went behind the scenes, made plans with his mother.
And it was literally just one person.
And
one caseworker.
Yeah, it was one caseworker. Went to his mother and planned it out, and to her ex, Junior's dad, and blindsided us.
Doesn't have, like, he's not involved in Junior's life at all.
We've already talked to the social worker as well about how his current wife treats Junior emotionally. And we talked to him a few times, and he's with them.
Okay, so you don't have custody of him right now.
No, I do. I still have custody.
They're
They're just in placement. But I am literally.
But the case is open?
Yes.
Yeah, they have court tomorrow.
I have trial and I've got trial, and he's got a disposition tomorrow.
Okay, hold on. What about the little girl?
He went to her mother, his mother.
Okay, so just for the future, we can't mention names. Because unless...
I think I said the caseworker's name.
No, you said, right?
Oh, yeah, my daughter. Okay, you're right.
And Junior, because
So I said Junior instead of his name.
My bad.
You said, I think.
Yeah, I did. I said.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. Okay.
So,
I never say that name.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We can't say any names of the kids that we don't have custody of. I'm sorry. It's just for.
Oh, I do have custody.
She has custody. Kids. They're just in place.
I have custody of both of them.
But the case is open, and they're not placed.
Yeah.
They're not placed with you right now.
Right.
So because they're placed with somebody else in the court system, technically right now, whoever has them has jurisdiction over them. CPS has jurisdiction.
And
that
makes
sense.
And that's what's so very upsetting, that she's even with her, because the cops had to be called. They would let her, even though I told them to stop letting her go over there. They let her. But they want to trust her because she wants to see her. She's grandma.
She just wanted
to call the cops.
Visit with her
every single time to have her taken back because she refused to give her up.
She'd call CPS making false allegations, and then I'd have to call the cops in order for them to come and get my daughter physically from her, because she would keep her locked in the house, and I wasn't able to go even on the property. So I would have to have, them come, and it's like this whole battle to get her back.
Let's go back to the first day that CPS got involved this time around.
Okay.
With those two kids, are there two different cases?
No, it's we have issues, like we've had relationship issues, and we are working on it, but we get very heated very quickly. And it was we were at a hotel, and the hotel lady had called the cops, and so there was a domestic violence, but the domestic violence had gotten dropped. There was a no contact order. So that's what they're stating is the issue and why all of this even happened. So it was, I forgot the date that it happened. It's in here, but yes, but it was the 5th of August when they did the hearing date and removed them. But it was because of a domestic violence.
Between you two?
Yeah.
Yes. And it was, the morning that it happened, the morning that he went to court, the CPS worker went to court and petitioned to remove the kids, he was texting with me a little bit, but was being very vague, and told me, he called and then told me that he wanted to meet me. He said that he was trying to do a surprise pop-up visit on my mom, and wanted to meet me by my mom's house, but I was trying to call her and she was sleeping or something. I don't know. She wasn't answering. So I said no. And I had to go to Walmart. I was getting clothes for my daughter. And So I had him meet me there. When he got there, he told me that it was either he was going to petition, and he said he had to petition for the highest.
Hey guys.
He had to petition for the highest possible outcome, even though that's not what he was going for, is what he said. He said he had unhealthy feelings for me and my children. And yes, literally, word for word, that's exactly what he said. And I was like hysterically crying, like, because he then told me he was petitioning the highest possible thing, and it was to remove the kids. And it was because of, he said, if I don't go and get a PPO out on Tyler, okay, I can say his name. Anyways, if I don't go get a PPO out for him, and if I don't follow through with whatever the court case for the DV was wanting me to do, or even recommending or anything, then also that I had to, he wasn't sure when court was, but it was either that day or the day after, that I needed to tell the judge that I was terrified of Tyler. I was terrified of him. I was scared for my life, that I was scared he was going to hurt me, and that I needed to immediately, leaving the store, the Walmart, after seeing the worker, go down and get a PPO out on him. And if I didn't say all of that and do all of that, because his own words said he's going to do what he has to do to make sure Tyler's not around no more. And then he also, so I asked him when the court was. He said he wasn't sure. That's exactly what he said. He said he wasn't sure. And he also said that he would just let me know or whatever, and that was pretty much it. He said that when he was going to go and request for placement, that's not what he was going for, but he had to do the highest possible thing, which I don't understand that. And then but that's not what he was doing. He like, so, but I'm not gonna do that, because that's not what, like, if it's not true and if it's not something I feel I need to do, I'm not gonna do it. And you're not gonna tell me just.
There is already a no contact order in place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a redundant thing to go get a PPO when there's already something in place.
What does a PPO stand for?
A personal protection order?
Where if he comes anywhere around me, he'll go to jail, pretty much.
Like a restraining order.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
So, but like she said, we had a case, like there was already a court case for that, and there was a no contact order put in place already. So it was pretty much, if he was around me regardless, he'd be getting in trouble, going to jail or whatever have you, like whatever they do.
You refuse to tell me.
So I told him I didn't really say much of nothing. Actually, I sat there silent, crying, and very angry. I told him that I was done and I wasn't going to have a conversation with him anymore. And he said, you don't have to like it, but this is what's happening. And pretty much that was it. And then, so it was 3 hours later, not even.
Oh, no.
I got a call. Oh yeah, that was prior to that, though it wasn't that day. It was, he's had many little meetings with me, with us, me and Tyler, me and Mom, and it's just, I mean, he did not go by protocol. He didn't do any of that. He said in his own words that he doesn't care about the rules, that he's not going to follow them, that he's going to do what he needs to do because that's how he gets the results he gets.
And he also,
hold on, let me finish the story while you take.
Yeah.
So then it was like, oh my goodness, what time was it? It was maybe like 3.
Yeah, it was
3 o'clock.
when you're.
I got a text, but I was in the middle of.
It was 2:46. He texted you.
Yeah, I was going through, minding my children's clothes and stuff like that, all of the stuff that we had at her house. And so I didn't see my phone, but it wasn't even but 15 minutes later, not even that, I got a call from my attorney and telling me that we were about to go into court. and I had absolutely no idea. Like, I wasn't even told a time. I wasn't told if and when it was going to be today, tomorrow. Like, I wasn't told anything. And so I didn't have any of the information, and I didn't have a way to get on the
Zoom
site that they needed me to be on to be in the hearing. And my attorney said it's okay, that he was going to have them phone me in. So I sat there and I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. Nobody called me. I didn't get anything. I called down to the courthouse, and I mean, I left voicemails. I called and called, and I've called the actual front of the court. I tried everything to find where this court hearing was, and I couldn't get into it. And then it was 3:30, or no, 4 o'clock, when I got a text from the CPS worker telling me that they were going to put kidnapping charges out on me and him if we did not give our kids up.
He called me. I was with him, but he didn't know it, and I had him on speakerphone. And I was like, what? How did it? Okay, because first of all, there was a plan involved. And that plan would be if they were to be removed.
Oh, wait, sorry. 2 days prior to this, right? He came to the house that we had just moved into. And yeah. And then my children came running outside, and we were just all out there and talking or whatever, and he told me that because it wasn't an actual open case, that they were just investigating to see if that's something that they thought it was necessary to continue with, that in 2 days it would have been to 30 days, and he was closing it, so there wasn't going to be anything. And then the next day all of that happened.
Well, that wasn't the next day, so because
no,
it was
2 days later.
So, but on that same day, this is the notes that he wrote down. And that's why the stuff with me is outrageous, because on here it says Deanie needs to provide temporary POA so you can give son number 2 to the doctor's first checkup. In his own notes.
After he said that none of my children have been to the doctors in 2 years.
So
which is false.
When that court hearing happened, he called me because she said, I want to talk to your supervisor. Who's your supervisor? He said, you'll talk to me. And he's messaging this. And
he
so
said, no, I wasn't allowed to, that I needed to talk to him and him only.
So then he called me.
If like it or not, this is what it is. You're going to have to talk to me sometime, regardless.
So that's when he called me, because she's not talking to him. And he said, Deanie, I need to know where, does Kailee still have your car? Yeah, maybe. Why? Well, do you know your plate number? No, I don't think so. I do, but I'm not giving it to him. And I said, why? He's like, because if she doesn't turn over kids, then I'm going to put a 5 county-wide APB or whatever report on her for kidnapping, and have her arrested, and she'll be charged with kidnapping a child. And I said, well, then you do what you got to do. I said, but I don't understand. I need answers right now, because if you're removing them children, why are we to hand them over to you? Because the agreement was that they were to be placed with me. He's like, well, right now all that's important is that she hands them over to me. And I said, well, do you have a court order? Do you have a signed court order? He said, I do. And I said, then you need to show it to him. I actually send me a copy of it, because I want to see, because I need to understand how it is that this court took place off of what charges, what allegations were made, because there is absolutely nothing that justified what you did today. Every action that you have made thus far has been an ill attempt and unprofessional. And I don't even know how it is you even have a job right now. But he's like, well, that's not important. I can't discuss it with you over the phone. And I said, well, you're going to have a discussion with me as to why you are taking my daughter's children, and why is it they're being placed somewhere else? Why didn't I get notified of this hearing? For 2 years, I went to every single hearing the first time around. And I know for a fact that I should have been involved. If this court case took place, then that means that you made arrangements with other people. And that wasn't the deal. The deal was to keep the sibs together because that's what's in their best interest. Going over to the grandmother's house isn't healthy for my granddaughter, because of the emotional stress that's brought on her every single time she goes around there, because she has to be physically removed from this woman. Second of all, we have talked to you several times about how his dad's wife, his stepmother, abuses him emotionally, tells him, doesn't even call him his name, refers to him as your son, get your kid, or just ignores him, leaves him home alone. But they get in trouble for being left home alone. And so now he's over there. And he has told us on numerous times how he hasn't eaten. She doesn't feed him but once. And he's starving when he goes to his meetings at 4:30 and makes him take naps. And she's a horrible person to him. And it's not, and that's why I don't understand why that they were put in those two places, because they're worse off now than they were before. And then I said, so again, I need to understand why they are not with me. You know for a fact that she did not want her daughter to go to this place, but you did it anyways. So that tells me you are personally involved in this, and I know what you told her this morning, and you are going to get exposed. And I said, so unless you answer me, this is going to go in a whole nother direction, and you are going to be held accountable. He's like, well, how about I stop by tomorrow and we can talk about this in person?
Did you tell her what he told you?
I said, well, I'm about to. And I said, well, I don't understand why you have to. And again, I don't understand. Why is it you took her children? He goes, you know what? And this is how he sounds. He goes, do you know that he beat the out of your daughter pregnant? Do you? And I was like,
by the way, he did not beat the,
and he didn't. He did not. But, and I said, well, and she didn't go get a PPO like I told her to. And I said, well, but there's a no contact order in place. And I go, and nonetheless, I said, they're dropping the charges. I don't care. You know, he did what he did.
He said that he was going to make it to where even if the case got cut or just if it ended at a time frame that he didn't want it to, that he was going to make it to where it was going to be impossible for him to come around me at all.
Right. So then I asked him, so given the fact that you took the kids somewhere else and, you asked me about, he goes, well, I know for a fact that he was with her on this date. And I said, and I take notes I take these notes, and I always have a doodle pad around. And I said, well, ooh, that doesn't even sound right. I said, but I'll get back to you on that number, because that date, I'm certain that they weren't there. I go, what else do you have? What are your facts? Well, I know he was there the other day when I was there. And I go, how? How do you know for a fact that he was there? Because if you knew for a fact he was in that house, what if she was being held against her will and you left. And then you come back 2 days later and take her to court to remove her kids because you know for a fact he was in that house. So where is it that you
did your job?
Where did you do your job? You neglected to report a crime, in fact, because what if that was the case? I'm not saying it is, but what if? But other than that, so you're saying, well, you let Ben over there. I know he was over there. Again, how? So why is it 48 hours ago did you ask me to give her power of attorney? And if I had a problem with it, to come to you and deal with you. Because I know for a fact you don't need a power of attorney to take somebody to the doctors. You need a letter of, you need just a letter stating that it's medical necessary, and that is it.
And that's what I said to him. I told him that.
So, but I don't think he understood that. So then he goes, well, again, I'll just come talk that more specifically about you tomorrow. And I go, there's no explaining that. You took her children. Now I go, oh, so, well, wait, I said, so were there allegations on me? Is that why the kids didn't come to me? Is that why I didn't know about this? And so he's like, well, yes. I go, oh, there was. When? Saturday, 4 days ago. And I said, oh, Saturday? Let me write that down. I said, because I want to know who would have called the allegations on me. Really, seriously, who? Because there is not a person who would have done that in my life, because I don't do anything. I work, I take care of my grandson. I take care of my home. That's just all I do. And then I help my children on the side.
Are we
So-
expecting she's having another baby?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, do you see that?
And I think, yeah, due probably next month or anytime soon, because she don't go full term.
Is that a boy?
Girl, another
Oh,
girl.
is it? Well, you look great
Girl.
for carrying a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, he mentioned again coming over, and I go, yeah, sure, I'll see what I've got going on. No, he's not coming to my house because I know you don't have the right to come to my house. I go, so why is it that you say that 4 days ago somebody called in allegations when I know that you have 24 hours, 48 at the most, to follow up with me, to get a face-to-face, and you didn't. And then you wouldn't even have mentioned it had I not said something to you. So then all this, there's like a week or two that went by, still nobody contacted me. And then after that, I filed a complaint to his supervisor and let them know how I felt and what had happened. I called the central intake. They said that there had been nobody had called in any allegations, which I later found out that he actually verbally told them she let the son number 2 go unsupervised, and I suspect she's doing drugs. It came from that social worker. So then a couple weeks went by, and then finally, I think it was 40 days later that he asked to meet with me to talk to me about these allegations. And I said, so all of this, he said that Tyler was in the house because he said so. She had her kids taken away because, oops.
But then in the same sentence also said nobody would talk to him at that specific date that he's stating.
We have notes from that day. And
he said nobody would come out and talk to him, but that I told him that he was living with us.
And that he was downstairs doing laundry. They don't have washer and dryer downstairs.
We didn't have washer and dryer downstairs, and it was locked off at the time.
And never would she have told him that he was living there, because he flat out said, if I find out he's living with you, I'm taking your children away. And he's threatened her 3 times to taking her kids away. If you do this or don't do that, I'm going to take your kids away.
So when was the day that the kids were taken, and how was it done?
8/5, August 5th.
And how was it done?
They never did. They never asked everybody. And he made up those allegations against me to take me out of the equation, because he didn't want the kids to be anywhere near these 2. She is not within, neither one of those 2 are within reasonable range. She is an hour. She's an hour west. He is 45 minutes east or north, I think. So, and those are not the ideals, because where she's at, she can't let them see her as much as she wants, because this time around they're making her do supervised visits, where before she didn't. They were through me. The visit, she came to me, so she had unlimited access.
How often are the
It was
visits?
completely different scenario.
She gets two a week.
2 1-hour visits a week.
2 1-hour
because of one child is under the age of 6.
But dad doesn't get any visits.
No, because they said he needs to
prove.
prove paternity, even though.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah, he's an affidavit. He wasn't even told. The social worker told his mother about the court date to tell him, and they said that was within reasonable efforts.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So he's not proven father, supposedly.
He's an affidavit.
But they
Which is
gave
a legal father.
But they won't.
But they gave the daughter to his mom.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Make that make sense.
When I have the sibling, and any judge, if that were known, they would automatically have done it, because he neglected to tell the other workers. Because I asked, when I told his supervisor, I didn't even talk to his supervisor when he called me back. I didn't feel there was a reason, because I felt that an investigation needed to be brought up on that social worker. So then another gentleman called me who was investigating it, who was a higher up guy, and never addressed my concerns. He did send me a letter saying that he felt that the case was handled, according to the records, the case was handled appropriately. But if you're looking at them the way we are in the documentation, it's all contradicting.
Okay, so hold on. Tell me exactly on August 5th how the kids were removed. Who took the kids?
The social worker did.
I had to go drive my daughter to my mother's house.
We were threatened to be.
And
Sorry to cut
prior
you
Was
off.
to
there a
that,
warrant? Was there a warrant?
No.
but he said he was going to call the cops on us.
And we weren't. I mean, we don't know.
And then
Okay.
I told you guys, don't hand her
When I
over without
got
a
there-
signed court document.
when I got there, my mom pretty much yanked her out of my arms, and she was kicking and screaming for me, saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." And my mom walked her inside, and Kaylee was just down the road because they don't get along. There's always an altercation.
We
when
had
they're
to.
out.
I had to drive her to Allegan, and then he had to hand her off.
So what happened? Kaylee could literally hear my daughter screaming probably a half a mile down the road that she didn't want to go there. You know,
How old is she?
a year and a half old. And that, I mean, I had break. That's my baby girl. She woke up.
They were.
She walked to my side of the bed. She'd get her donuts. She'd sit right next to me.
They were very close.
We
She
ate
was a daddy's
donuts
girl.
together. We watched cartoons together. She'd help me work on my car, even though she just hit
And
wrenches on it.
He has another child, and he's not allowed to, be involved in that. And so and then everything that happened with Benny.
Like, I can say his name.
No, you're his.
But you can't. Well, he's not involved, I
He's
guess.
not involved.
Yeah, Ben's not
But
involved.
you can say because he's there with
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
My
But-
bad.
yeah.
Anyways, okay. So number 2 boy.
You're fine because he's
It's
Say, you can
not-
say Ben, he's not involved. I forgot.
Anyways, okay.
sorry.
And then everything that happened with him. So when she was born, and he's been there and he's stepped up, and he's really. I mean, they've got a really tight bond, and so it was kind of really heartbreaking, watching. And then seeing that every time, because we have to have meetings and our visits, and there was a meeting right before our visit, and so he had to be there, and it was just like she was trying to run to him because she's seen him, like she started pointing to him, and then she because at that time it was well over a month that he hadn't seen her or him, and she realized who he was, and then started trying to run to him, and the CPS worker snatched her up so fast, and she started kicking and screaming and crying, and it's horrible. And then he's upset, and nobody's doing anything about it. They're acting like this is just fine.
But the
I've
issue,
got text messages. I would have to send at least anywhere between 5 to 10 text messages to get a text from the CPS.
Just
worker.
one text.
the first foster care worker, because it went from CPS to foster care because they were placed. The first, they're asking for an affidavit to prove he's the biological father, and then so he's with the grandmother, so she's technically in their eyes not a relative. So big issue with that. 2, or that'd be 3. The oldest son, the oldest child that's involved in here, is placed with an affidavit father who did not have to prove paternity to receive that child.
And he had been
Charged improper care and
previously
custody in 2017.
for this child
And
that they just placed with him.
And that boy might not be my blood son, but I've been there 100% more than his actual dad since he was 3 years old. I've been around.
And the child, my son, my oldest, he makes comments about it and stuff like that.
He hates going over there.
When he got placed there, he was
Devastated.
very much so.
Devastated because he told me, I have a recording of him. My family started recording it, of him talking to me about how she treats him. And I sent it to both of them.
He knew that she was recording him too, by the way.
Yeah, he knew. And it's so sad because you can hear the realness, you can hear the pain, you can hear, and the social worker knew that.
So
They don't have proper running water. He's complained about not being fed right. He was sent, and according to placement, even though he's the placement of a father, so it's a little different, they still have to have permission, and everybody has to be approved for him to go and stay any unsupervised without the the placement parent. But he let him go a week here, a week there, someplace else. When he could be with
in
me.
the first 2 weeks of placement, he was at 3 different other people's houses and stayed the night multiple nights in a row. But anyways, getting back to him not being able to see. So when the 5th happened, you know, we don't know a lot about, you know, the rules and how things work and everything related to what had happened. So we're sitting here scrambling around trying to like research and Google and get on the site to understand what was going on. And we were calling and calling and calling, both of us, leaving voicemails and trying to reach out to people and trying to get like higher ups numbers, and like nobody, absolutely, not even our lawyers.
She didn't hear from her lawyer until August 17th.
And I had to call him.
Yeah, and the only reason I even talked to him was because he was trying to get in touch with our children's lawyer, and he's the one who answered the phone. But anyways, and so then we're trying everything possible to get in contact with anybody at all to just kind of make sense of the situation and understand something. And nobody would talk to us. And then when we finally did contact somebody, it was our CPS worker sent a text when I finally had texted him, because I told him I was done contacting him after he took our children, because like it was just
illegal. He kidnapped them.
And so he gave me a name and a number of our new worker, and it was the Friday that he sent it to me, but it was like right before everything was closing, so I couldn't reach out to her that day. So I waited until Monday morning, first thing I called her, and I called quite a few times. Nobody answered. I sent a text letting her know it was me, and then finally got a response probably about 9 o'clock. And it was a phone call, and she told me, you know, it was her, and she gave me her name, told me what she was, and, you know, that she was waiting for 1 o'clock because she didn't know anything about the case at that point. All these questions that I had, she couldn't answer them. She told me that at 1 o'clock she was going to go and meet with Fred, or the old CPS worker, so that she could get the case transferred over to her and read into it, understand, and then be able to answer our questions. So that she would contact me as soon as that was done with, and we would go from there. And then also told me that this is a week in already, a little over a week in, I do believe, and that we were supposed to have already had set up, each of us, separately, 3 visits already set up. Already should have had at least 1 visit or 2. No. We should have had 2 visits.
You went
each.
10 days without seeing her.
Yes, and so we should have had 3 visits at that point, though, set up. 2 for the week prior, and then 1 because it was the beginning of the week, so we could have already had a visit. So she wasn't really, she was confused herself at that point on why we weren't able to see the kids, or why we didn't even, and haven't been able to talk to nobody.
And even though she knew that, she still did not schedule anything. At that point, that's when I reported to their supervisor, because she
had to
finally,
wait until 1 to get the
this was Wednesday.
Though, so.
This was Wednesday. I contacted his supervisor because I messaged her and gave her my complaint. This is what I need you to know, because nobody's listening. And aside from the case that everything, her kids being removed was based off of lies, all lies. I go, and then falsely accusing me of what I don't even know yet. I haven't found any proof that there's been any allegations against me. So I'm filing a formal complaint. And she's like, well, if nobody's ever told you this is a supervisor's name and number. So I immediately messaged him. I couldn't even get out of my car fast enough for him to start blowing my phone up, the supervisor. He left me some voicemails. I'm like, I'm not talking to you right now, because I'm still fueled. I'm very fueled. I didn't sleep for probably 3-4 days because I was online 24/7 trying to find answers and trying to find legal representation that can jump into this. Their civil rights have been violated. He lied. He committed perjury. and he needs to be held accountable. So I got paperwork actually now, because I had to go and get my records from CPS. I had to do the Information Freedom Act and get my records. So I had it documented as to the timeline that my allegations against me took place, and that how is it that a social worker is able to get away with such a thing, and then did not even follow protocols. And then I, at the end of this text, I asked him, I want you to explain to another court system, and probably the Supreme Court or the Appellate courts, how is it my daughter has gone 10 days or maybe even longer without seeing those children after you kidnapped them? Somebody's going to have to explain
Now,
this.
do you happen to know if in your state it is a warrant needed to remove a child?
As far as I know,
No, a judge or a referee
It
has
has-
to sign it. Sign the paper, which I have. Which, mind you, that day I asked for the paperwork, and I wanted to see it, and this was before we were told that we had to rush immediately to do all of whatever we were both told to do before we were both found and arrested for kidnapping our own
Yeah,
children.
the referee's
Yes,
name
that's
on there.
exactly what.
referee's name's on there. The referee's name's on there up there.
Oh.
So,
Is it okay? Yeah,
What
he
is-
said, I was just gonna show her the referee.
No,
Oh,
it's, yeah. Well, anyways, what he had,
when were
he
you
sent,
given that paperwork though?
he did not send, he didn't, I did not get a physical copy until it was mailed to me. What
Which
he
was
sent me, it was
The 18th,
2 weeks later,
because the
a
17th you
little
talked
over
to
2
your,
weeks later.
it had been
So
on the 18th.
technically, you could have waited, correct? To
Well, I don't know, honestly,
Because-
because even now to this day, I'm still so very confused on the entire situation. Like, what he sent me was each paper, but it was over a text, and everything
It
was
was blurred
blurry.
out. He had that filter on it.
Nothing. There was a filter, so I could not read
You could tell it was a
nothing.
filter. You could tell.
Absolutely nothing. Not one
It wasn't-
little letter I could see on
It
there.
wasn't blurry. It was filtered.
okay,
It was an
hold on.
intentional thing.
Hold on, we have to.
But his
hold
mother.
Hold on. We have to calm down because when both start talking at one time,
Mhm.
I can't hear, and then it
Sorry.
It's okay. I get it. You guys are furious and
Confused.
anxious and confused.
And yeah.
I get it. And I definitely, this Saturday, if you let me know, have my assistant give you my number, I will make sure you get to talk to Vince.
Yeah, because she has court tomorrow and he has a deposition. They convinced him to plead guilty to previous history of substance abuse and his mental illness, which he has not been diagnosed for.
And don't sign anything and don't agree to any of that.
That's what I said. They
Well,
can't
that's
prove
why-
it because they have no
First of
proof.
all, they had medical records of me
How?
being out, distressed out in the streets on Porter's
So?
Road. They had
Hold on.
medical records of me, or arrest records of me being arrested. And then they did drug test. They drew my blood and they did all that stuff there. So like,
Were
I
you
mean,
were you on drugs then?
I mean, at the time, yeah, but the kids were, I wasn't with Kailee at the time. Me and her were fighting and I was kicked out. I was not around the kids at all.
How long have you been clean?
I've been
The
clean
date of the kids
Hold
for,
on, hold on, hold on, hold
We were
on, hold
both
on,
clean.
hold on. How long have you been clean?
I was clean on August 5th when the kids were taken.
How long
Since
before
We
then,
that?
were clean before that.
But I've been clean before that too. I just
We didn't really keep track of it. We have both had setbacks.
understood.
But
my original clean day
Understood.
off of heroin was November 17th, 2017, right?
Because they're both,
yeah, yep. And
2017.
mine is February 2nd is my first negative drug screen, but 2 months prior to that I was already clean.
which
We both go to a substance abuse program, and had the date of the removal. We were clean, testing clean. There was a drug test that he had both of us do at our substance abuse area that we go to and participate in. the head lady there, she had even came out and had a conversation. He gave her his card. The CPS worker gave her his card, told him, you know, what he was doing and all of that. There's cameras there, so it was all recorded. Right in front of my oldest son, he gave both of us, a test. But he then stated that he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to turn it in because it wasn't allowed, even though that's what he was around for. So there's no record of that.
So does CPS have any dirty tests from either of you?
No.
Okay. That's what we need to worry about right now. That's it. It doesn't matter what you.
And they're not. And at this time, they're not even drug testing us either. And I've even made comments about it.
Then, do you each have your own attorneys?
Yes. I can't keep in touch with mine. Mine refuses. Only the day of the hearings am I able to actually get in contact with him.
Then you need to be doing your own case with your attorney, but you have to be in charge of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have the.
That's why I'm going to trial.
Hold on. You need to have everything in order, documentation, but not just one copy. However many attorneys and the judge, you need to have a copy for everybody. It needs to be in a labeled folder. It needs to have a table of contents. Every page needs to be numbered. Every section needs to have a divider that is labeled.
Yeah, I've got that right here.
For everybody.
Okay, yeah, I don't have all of that, but I've got a printer and a copier, so
then when you show up at court tomorrow or whatever day it is, you tell your attorney, I have a copy for everybody and everybody needs to read this today. Demand it. If your attorney refuses to show it, then you tell the judge, Your Honor, I have brought this for everybody and my attorney, I'm going to fire him because he's not doing what I've asked. You have to stand up for you. Dad, same thing. So
I've been writing down.
You have a past, it is your past.
See,
it is not your current.
See, when I asked my attorney, because I was very confused, I will always have a history of everything that they're saying. I will always have a history of it. So why should I have to plead guilty to that? You know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense. And then he was like, well, I'm just going to say that they're going off of a history since August 5th, the date that they took your children. Okay, that being said, that makes no sense still. Then no, I'm not pleading guilty to that. I was clean. I will not plead guilty to something that isn't accurate. I had a home. There was, just everything that they had pinned for me. It was just are you serious? That's what you're trying to remove my children for? Because I would understand, if it was however long ago when I was using,
right.
Right. And and we were homeless and hopping around and didn't have anywhere to, you know what I mean? That would make sense. But wait until everything is good to go? And things are fine. And yeah, we had the case open, but we were working at it. And I was in touch with the attorneys and we were dealing with it. And then the case got dropped, being the fact of the no contact order, and it was impossible to even fight this case that we had now against us for the children. So we couldn't even do anything to even work together to get them back. So the case was dropped, and immediately he came back, obviously, to try to fight for our children.
I have a question. So since day one, I have made countless times to contact them. I've told them that I would find paperwork that what is it?
The affidavit of
parentage. I would take paternity tests. I would do all this, and I was told that they were taking care of it. But now it's going on to.
Told that we shouldn't do it. That's what we did.
Yeah. They told me that I shouldn't do it because they were handling it, and now it's going on to month 2, and I have yet to see my daughter. And the only way I have been able to see my daughter if I refused to listen to them and drop something off to her for my daughter. It's the only way I've been able to.
Yeah, it was that day that
And I
we
have
had
every single
the
text
meeting.
to prove what has been happening.
I mean,
6,
we could
7
have gotten the
texts and then get a
affidavit
short little
already.
text. 6, 7 texts, a short little text.
And all
And
of
you
it
need to
is
call
being
the
told that they
supervisor.
don't know anything. The supervisors are the same thing.
But
I
it
mean, we
says the
can
same
keep
thing.
going.
Then go above. Keep
We
going.
try. Yeah, I know. It's very
That's what I said.
frustrating,
That's
but
what I said. I
we
told
get
her.
nowhere.
I told her.
understand. I do. I get it. Trust me.
Everybody tells us that this is what it is, that they have every right to do what they did.
Write your senators.
But nobody has any answers for us. With all these questions that we have, nobody can answer any of it. And they're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand that. Well, yeah, because it's not something that should have, I mean, it just, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I told them, you need to write. You need to email your senators. Every single
you gotta
state representative. You need, not so much the governors, because, well, they're really not going to have time for that. The senators. I wrote Senator McCann in regards to my son's PUA that had dragged and dragged and dragged. And within 48 hours of that email, my son was paid because he went in and personally started an investigation. So write the committee board.
I know a lot of people that have written, everybody, the ombudsman, all of it. A lot of times it will get you nowhere. But what it does do for you is it document. And it's just
Everything.
proof that you are doing your part. And then as far as participating in the case plan, if you already signed it and you're going through it,
There
We didn't
hasn't
have
been
one. She was fired.
Our
And it
last
started all over
worker
again.
was fired. We don't know why. We've got a new worker now.
And because of that, me and Kaylee took things into our own hands. We got therapy by ourselves.
Yeah, we started, I mean.
And now
which-
I'm in a DV class, and we also have parenting classes now.
Yeah, one tomorrow starting.
And we did all that by ourselves without them.
Telling us.
They
what
told
to
us
do.
they were going to do it, and they.
are you paying out of pocket?
No.
No, we have Medicaid, so luckily now Medicaid has covered everything that.
No, I will not pay for none of that.
I mean, if it comes down to it, yeah. I will
no.
freaking pay.
They,
I'll pay.
I would make them do it, if anything.
They won't. There's a lot of parents that have to pay.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
Yeah.
paying. You know, it's free. I've been to this place before. It's actually really decent. I liked it.
You know, and the new CPS worker we have now, she has been a breath of fresh air, honestly.
But I think that's just because of, you know, everything that's going on, and they're seeing that something isn't right, I think. So they're now trying to put somebody in to actually try to work. I don't know.
I think come tomorrow, it needs to be thrown out. I think
I think
tomorrow,
that's what it does. I think tomorrow you need to make a stand and say this is PS.
you neglected to do this in 30 days. You neglected to do this in this time frame. They did not. That's why I just went through this last night with them. I get very passionate about this, and I put a lot of sleepless hours into, and that's how I stumbled across you guys. 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, I couldn't sleep because I can't understand what's happening, and you know, I knew there was something I had to do. And by contacting you guys, has really opened my eyes.
So you don't fall.
As far as it confirming everything I suspected from the go.
Can I
And
tell you one of my fears right now?
What?
Your baby in your belly.
Yes, I know. I was starting to actually talk to the caseworker about that. He's been worried about that as well. I'm terrified that they're going to try to snatch her.
So what you could do.
You see how messed up this case is?
It
like,
is
it's
bad.
just,
But I'm not gonna lie.
It's so confusing.
They all are. I'm not gonna lie. This isn't any more confusing.
And you know, we've heard stories of people like CPS taking people's kids like out of nowhere, and me and her, we'd be like, oh, wait, they don't do that.
Gotta
I've
do
never heard
something in
that.
order for that to happen.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
But
No.
what were you saying?
You said all cases are right.
what I was saying about the cases is all of them are confusing. There's something major wrong in all of them. Like my kids were kidnapped by my parents, and I was never investigated, never given a warrant. I had never even done anything wrong, and then all the allegations were dropped that next week. I didn't get my kids back for 2 years though. So, yeah. So
Oh my gosh. So it was dropped 2 weeks later
2
and
weeks
they
later.
still continued it?
Correct.
Wow.
2 years.
So it was dropped under investigating.
Yeah.
It
dropped,
was
and then 2 years later they still
they opened a case immediately, which should always have an investigation. Never an investigation on me. My
Right.
mom is
Yeah.
the one who illegally took my kids from my care. I thought she was bringing them to my friend in the parking lot of the hospital. Nope, gone. She sent me a message later that night saying, you don't get to see or talk to your kids ever again. And I'm like, what the fuck, Mom? And CPS approved her house that night of being a foster mom. And that was it. 2 weeks. But my mom and dad, who made the allegations, recanted all of the allegations when they found out I could prove against everything they said about me.
Go figure.
They said I was a drug
Right.
addict. I've never touched a drug in my life. I've never been drunk. I've never done anything. You know, regardless, it doesn't matter. I hadn't done anything. So my point is, every case is effed up in some way.
Yep.
But what I would do about your baby that you could consider right now, give mom guardianship maybe.
POA, yep.
Guardianship
Yeah,
is fine.
we were talking about that too.
Just because, you know,
I was gonna go try.
Yeah, I know. That's definitely probably gonna be the best option.
don't want
because
them
they're
walking
not
in that
taking her.
room and maybe even have her elsewhere.
No, they're going to. They're definitely going to.
have
They're
her
going to be
somewhere
there
else.
immediately.
Have her somewhere else where they don't know.
Well, I actually the substance abuse program that I'm in, I am prescribed methadone by a doctor, and I have been. So when I got pregnant, they couldn't take me off of it because it could have killed the baby. So she is gonna have to be in the hospital to be
Weaned.
We could
Yeah.
go to Spectrum during
just monitored, made sure she's okay and stuff like that. So she's gonna be in the hospital and they're gonna come there.
They're gonna call.
But it's all no. They did with our last daughter, the one that is now with his mother, and they were in and out. Like literally, they just did a home check, made sure that we had the stuff that we needed for her, and they were gone. That was it.
Yeah, but
because it is all legal.
time will be
And our
different,
doctors know about it. So
But this time.
no, I know that they'll. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's gonna be 100% different. And I knew that as soon as CPS wasn't letting up at all.
Well, and they're also using things on our previous CPS cases
Oh,
against
yeah.
us.
Yep. Because
that's
of
common.
the fact that we were addicted and we weren't ready to.
pull that and put that in your thing, because that's not okay. They cannot copy and transfer. Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, that's what they're
Can they
doing.
use a mental illness? Because
An undiagnosed.
Yeah, and it's undiagnosed.
Because that's like kind of discriminating for someone being, excuse my terminology, but like
Disabled.
special.
Yeah, disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah, disabled.
But it's undiagnosed. There's no medical professional who has diagnosed him with anything.
So then what
The
you
10th we.
hold on, what you can do is you can go get a psych evaluation.
Yep, the 10th.
They actually ordered me to.
Yeah, and me too.
Then do that, but I try not to go to one of theirs.
They suggest.
How can they even have? So I guess I don't understand is how can they have court when not all this stuff is completed because they neglected to do their jobs on their end?
Yeah, the
have
new
court
worker.
constantly. They have court constantly.
It's an actual trial tomorrow.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
it's a disposition for me,
And it's my trial.
her trial.
And we literally had just gotten this worker maybe 2.5-3 weeks ago. And
Then
maybe
after-
just
after
this last
Tuesday.
week, she just started actually doing something.
That's what I said when because I told her first of all you need to have witnesses. If this is a trial, you tell your
I
attorney
do. I have a witness.
to get witnesses there.
no, you need like 20.
Well, I don't have 20 because I don't have too many friends or
What
people that are
about family
around.
members, character
All,
witnesses?
this is it right here. What you
That's
see is
what
what you get.
That's what I said. She can get a hold of. She can have her attorney subpoena people from the clinic, her counselor to at least verify her character.
What about her drug and alcohol people?
Right. that stuff.
Yeah,
And have
that's what she was just talking about.
having the lady who came out and witnessed him giving them a drug test to.
I got my one friend who said that she will be there.
To explain what happened to the drug test that he did that day. Why did he feel the need to throw that away or not send it in?
And
You know,
my son,
why-
but I don't want to-
Why are allegations being against me that I let my adopted son go around them unsupervised when 48 hours before the hearing you asked to get a POA? These are things that I have an issue with.
But that doesn't even make sense, and I'm not really even sure why they've even brought in him.
Then I would
bring
say
in the second son, because I mean, honestly, it's got nothing to do with him. That case has nothing to do with them. And to begin with, when I had a conversation when I signed rights off to him, it was to be known to everybody in that courtroom and the judge, even at that time, that the only reason I was doing it was because of where he was going, so that I had access to him, so that he was always going to be in my life, and I was able to be that eventually a better parent to him, you know. And they knew that, and so they knew he was going to be around me, and they were okay with that. But then now all of a sudden, not allowed to be around him at all.
And the social worker that came to my house on that day, which I gave the riot act for days, quoting the law, and how I understood how I am just entertaining this because I knew legally he's not allowed in my house.
Really?
But just to have the documentation for the NSAW for the complaint that I'm filing and having his ethics investigated, but that they had no jurisdiction over him. And he's like, as long as you keep him away from him, you won't have any problems with us.
Well, what I would try to do tomorrow for the trial, because nothing has gotten done, you've had new social workers and so on and so forth, I would try to get a continued.
Extend it.
Dismissed.
Or dismiss.
They're not going to dismiss it.
They probably won't, but continue it.
I'm going to continue to try to email and
I would
call
fire
my attorney.
I would fire the attorney anyways.
Yeah.
You know what, my attorney was so into what Tyler was gonna do, like questioning me about if is he gonna plead guilty, is he gonna do this? I'm like, why do you care so much? And this was at the last court hearing. I was like, why are you so into what he's gonna do? You should not be worrying about what he's gonna do. You worry about me because you're representing me. Like, don't worry about what you should.
You know why, right?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Because then he's over it.
No, because the court-appointed attorneys are always working with CPS.
Yeah, that figured. And I was like, I don't know what he's doing. He shouldn't, but I'm not doing that. I'm not pleading guilty to things that I know are not right. I will never, ever in my life admit to doing stuff that I've not done. And especially when it's coming to my shit, like, no.
Well, here's what I want to say. Tomorrow I want you to try to get it extended or continued or whatever. Because there's a lot that you can file. Saturday night, I want you to let me know when you can call. After whatever happens, I want to do another video. So let's put this to rest for right now. Please call Saturday. Get my information from my assistant. I'll make sure you talk to Vince.
So he keeps putting 8 o'clock, but I noticed that the show is
7.
Is it actually 7?
It's 7.
Okay, he keeps telling me 8.
Because a lot of people call in the beginning, but if you call, I will get you on the radio.
Yeah, I'll even text you going, I'm on hold.
Yes, tell me.
Because I had to spell I had to spell my name to this guy every single time.
No, you're fine. Bless you. Again.
All right. Let me know. Text me when you.
Thank you for talking with us.
Yes, of course, and let me know what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I will for sure.
Yeah, my number's on there.
So
You can text me to your number, and then I'll have it.
No,
sorry for being overworked
ask
and
my assistant.
talking so much.
No, it's okay.
Ask your assistant.
Yeah, because I don't know the number. It's a long story, but because I have one specifically for work, and I don't know it. So ask her, and she'll send
Okay.
it.
So I'll go to the messenger because is that who was messaging me?
Yeah.
My messenger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where does this actually get around to? Like, wow.
It's on Facebook
And YouTube. It goes everywhere.
and YouTube.
And
Oh, okay. So we're
the nice-
actually like.
Can I ask how many like people you have watch your videos on average?
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
I'll
So
send the numbers.
the what I've been doing recently,
I want to write it down. Your
so when
information.
I would go live, I would have thousands of people watching, like that, like hundreds of thousands, like a lot. But the
Wow.
problem was people would say a name, and then we'd have to take the video down and edit it, and then when we put it back up, nobody watches it because they already
Right.
saw it. So now
Right.
what I'm doing is just recording it. So now I'll send it to the assistants. They'll edit it.
Right, so you can continue to edit all of my mistakes.
I make them too, so don't worry. If you were
She said the F word.
so, but
I
it'll,
was worried about myself.
it'll now
actually.
be on YouTube. And then the other thing that I'm doing, just so people know, is I am creating a Rolodex of attorneys across the country who fight CPS. So then when you need one in your area, here you go. And
Right.
the amazing thing that's happened from my show is I can't tell you how many people have been picked up by an attorney pro bono because their case is
You
so
guys.
freaking crazy. So it is helpful to do these. People think, oh, I'm just telling. No, you're not. Like, there's going to be people that will help you. I've had some people that couldn't pay bills, and people, followers are like, how can I send you money? So
And that's the problem is that right now where they're at,
Yeah,
it's not even a list.
There's so many.
It's not even there.
Like we weren't even able to hit the head on this. Like there's still so much more to this that has not even been said. It's unreal.
Because she's been on the waiting list for the housing resources 4 months, and they prioritize over importance and needs. They took my children based off homeless.
Oh yeah.
Well,
his chronic homelessness.
We're not even able to tell you everything about.
Oh, no.
the
There's-
CPS,
I
'cause there's
understand.
still
You
so
know
much.
that. Here's the other thing. Unfortunately, when you go to the office for help, the office right next door is CPS, and they connect.
Yes, I know.
So when you go and you say, "Hi, I need help," DCFS comes in and says, "I'm going to help you. I'm going to take your kids."
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He got her to trust her, but it was a very unhealthy thing. Everybody could see that he had more intent for her than
I give
what
people
was
the
done.
benefit of the doubt, and I don't. He
Except me.
sees it before I do, and I always think that because he's just always so headstrong on making sure that he's like blocked from all negative people, that he just assumes everybody's negative toward, you know what I mean? Like they have bad intentions, where I always try to do the opposite of that. So I think that's why we work well together, but I just didn't see it until that August 4th, the day before.
August
No,
5th.
August 5th. It was the day of my children's removal that I actually seen it. And well, because he told me with his own words that he has unhealthy feelings for me and my children. So
Well, what we can do is write down the things you didn't tell me, so we're a little bit more organized.
yep.
And then on our next meeting, because I want to do it again, we'll talk about all the other things, and then the court hearings as well and trial.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to definitely have things in order this time, because I really wasn't sure what we were walking into with this show. My mom has talked a lot about it, but I'm not really.
It's okay.
You know, there's just a lot going on. It's
I
very
know.
overwhelming and stressful and
emotional.
sad.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very emotional. So do that, and then call me or text me on Saturday, and I'll make sure you get on.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye. Nice meeting you.